Hey everybody, PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery out here to bring you the brand new flagship hunting bows from Mathews for 2024. We have the Lift. We're going to tell you all about these great new bows from Mathews. All right, so the Lift 29.5, which I have here, and the 33, which I have over there. First off, we want to talk about the cool new colors. Mossy Oak Bottomland here, and this one they call Earth. So those are two new colors from Mathews this year. What are we looking at as far as specs for these bows? On the 29.5, you're going to have, it's going to be mod specific from 24.5 to 30 inches. Remember, Mathews uses those switch weight mods. So your module is going to give you your draw length, draw weight, and the amount of let off. They're going to be those three things. Modules will control that. And why do they do modules? Well, Mathews believes that by having the specific module for every draw length, you are getting peak performance out of every draw length. So that's why they do that. The 33, you're going to have draw length options from 26 up to 31.5. And so for draw weights, using the switch weight mods, the peak draw weight options you're going to have are 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, and 80 pounds. And that's a great feature there in that, let's say you want to shoot a bow for hunting and you want to take that and you want to use it for target league. Certainly this 33 inch, the Lift 33, that thing's going to be a killer target bow. Well, you don't normally, if you had like a 70-pound bow and you wanted to shoot 55 or 60 for league, you would have to get a different set of limbs. But these switch weight mods, you can just change those draw weights just by changing mods. It's super simple. Of course, as their names indicate, this bow here is 29.5 inches axle to axle. That one is 33 inches axle to axle. And so these bows both have unique constructions. They're very similar to last year's Phase 4 bows, Phase 4 33, Phase 4 29.5. However, we're going to tell you about the unique construction that they have. One of the unique byproducts of that new construction is Mathews was able to make these bows a little bit lighter than they were last year. It's about a half pound, 0.3 to a half pound. Each of them is lighter than their counterparts from last year. And I measured them, this one has the 29.5 has, the specs say that it weighs 3.99 pounds. I got it at an even 4 pounds. Mathews, what they do is they take the dampeners out when they weigh them. 3.99 is what the spec is. It weighed 4 for me. Of course, I was using my own scale, not theirs. The 33 is going to come in at 4.26 pounds. I got that one at 4.4 without taking the dampeners out, so it's probably pretty close. But in any event, like I said, about in the ballpark of a half pound lighter for each of these bows for this year. Now, the last thing we wanted to talk to you about is the speed rating for each bow. So Mathews uses IBO speed rating. The 29.5 is going to have an IBO speed rating of up to 348 feet per second. The 33 is going to have an IBO speed rating of up to 343 feet per second. So that's the speed ratings. Now again, they use IBO speed rating. What we're used to is ATA speed rating, where that is you're going to set the bow at 30 inches, 70 pounds, you're going to shoot a 350 grain arrow from that bow to get the speed rating. That's ATA. IBO speed rating is actually to have the bow at 80 pounds draw weight. You're going to shoot a 400 grain arrow, and there is no draw length requirement. So on the 33 here, you could measure that 80 pounds, 400 grain arrow at 31.5 inches. The 29.5 maxes out at 30 inches, so you can't go above that, but IBO speed rating does not have a draw length requirement, and it goes up to that 80 pounds. I'm not pulling 80 pounds, so we're gonna do our own speed test at the ATA specs. All right, so remember, we're doing ATA speed test here, which is I've got the bow set to 30 inches, 70 pounds, 350 grain arrow. And the IBO speed rating for this bow is 348 feet per second. That's IBO speed rating. We're doing ATA testing because I don't have 80-pound modules. And I don't have a 400 grain arrow. I could get one, but more importantly, I don't have 80-pound modules. So this is the standard testing. Most of them go by these numbers. (331 feet per second. We'll take another shot just to make sure we're on. All right, shot number 2 at ATA specs that we've already discussed. And something to remember is what Mathews, how they list the speed rating is IBO speed rating of up to 348 feet per second. (330.8), so we are right on the money there with our chronograph speed there. All right, so here we go. Now we have the Lift 33 that we're gonna do our speed test. And now this one is where you could get to those crazy IBO numbers because, as we mentioned, there's no draw length minimum. Usually it's 30 inch for ATA. This bow does go up to 31.5, so they could do 80 pounds, 400 grain arrow at 31.5 inches to get their IBO speed rating, which is up to, they say, 343 feet per second. But we're gonna give you ATA, 70 pounds, 30 inch draw, 350 grain arrow. (329.6) on that first shot. We'll take a second shot. All right, shot number 2 for our speed test. I should mention we are using the Garmin Zero C1 Pro. C1 Pro, that's the chronograph that we're using here. (329.9), so basically right at 330 feet per second. All right, so the features of the new 2024 Lift. So the most noticeable feature of the new Lift bows is going to be your limbs right here. We talked about the unique construction. So what Mathews did is the axle does not go through the center of the limbs. That's where we've always seen it. Mathews came out with their target bow. The Title this year which was where they introduced this new style. With this, with the Lift and the Title, the axle actually sits on top of the limbs. What that allowed Mathews to do was shorten the limbs and allowed them to make them thinner at the tip. That's where they were able to get a lot of their weight savings, was in that construction. And in doing that, of course, they put these new cups on here, the limb tip ends. This is gonna be where you're gonna press it. You're gonna wanna get the new Mathews finger set from Last Chance Archery to press these bows. Also, what you're gonna see while we're talking about the limbs here, of course, they carried over from the Phase 4 what they call their resistance phase damping. That is this rubber strip. This bow here actually has 8 limbs, 1, 2, 3, 4. They are separated by these rubber strips here. That helps them kill vibration. And I mean, these things have no vibration and they're ridiculously quiet. Now into the cams. This is a new cam for Mathews this year. This is the SWX, the Switch Weight X cam. It's a new shape. It is definitely different from the Phase 4 cams. It's got a different shape to it, but what it does is, you know, as we mentioned, switch weight. It's gonna be module based, and as we said, that's gonna give you your draw length, draw weight, and the amount of let off, the percentage of let off. You're gonna adjust all of that by those modules there. It will still, something Mathews started a couple years ago, you will see a post here and a post here on the cam. There'll be the same thing on the bottom. That is where you're gonna connect the Mathews stay afield system. It's basically a cord that you can use so that you can press this bow in the field to work on your strings and cables, and you don't need a bow press. It's just a piece of cord that can fit in your pocket. You know, it's definitely the most compact portable bow press that you'll ever see. That's what these posts are for on the cam. Something else that is new this year with the lift bows is you're gonna notice on the speed nocks right here, match. So these are the new strings. Mathews basically redid their whole string department, string building process, and so they changed it from zebra to match. These are high quality strings now that Mathews is putting on their new bows, starting with the Title and with the lift as well this year. Now, coming down the bow, this one has the full number of features that Mathews has to streamline these bows. You're gonna have the bridge lock sight mount. You can see my HHA I've got threaded through here. That is the bridge lock sight mount. You will still have your standard threaded holes here for a traditional sight. Coming down, you're gonna have the machined dovetail for your integrate style rests. Any rest that is rated as IMS compatible, those rests will fit on these bows. Once again, still have your burger hole here if you have a traditional rest. And then down at the bottom here, stabilizers. We have our new bridge lock stabilizer. You can see that goes into the riser here, and a couple great features of that, okay? Typically what you have, you still have your standard stabilizer bushing here, right? So, but all you're gonna do is screw in your stabilizer here, and then all the pressure is on that bolt. And there's not much that goes in there. Maybe an inch, maybe an inch and a half. With the bridge lock stabilizers, you can see how much of that bar is contained in here. And what's even better is this is an 8-inch stabilizer, right? But with the connection point, I can make this stabilizer any length I want. You know, if I have an 8-inch rod connected here, it's 8 inches no matter what. So with these, I can adjust that length if I want to get it to balance the way I want. And this, of course, is one of the bridge lock stabilizers from Mathews. Great stabilizer. You will still have on the back standard mounting point for a side rod if you want. You can also mount on here. You know, Mathews has their own bracket that will allow you to use bridge lock stabilizers. It's basically the same as any other side rod mount, but it's gonna have the bridge lock connection point for your stabilizers. So at the grip here, we do have the Mathews Engage grip. This is a rubber grip they've had for several years now. And if you started noticing last year with the Phase 4 bows, the grips all came with this sticker here that says Shot Sense compatible. We didn't know about it last year. Now the Shot Sense is available. We got one to test out. We're gonna show you that right now. Okay, so Shot Sense right here on this grip. I will turn it on so that you can see it. We've been waiting for that. You know, we saw Shot Sense compatible written on the grip last year with the Phase 4 bows. Now with the Lift and Title bows, we see it as well. Mathews now, this will be available shortly is how I can say that. Because right now, what I'm showing you is actually still in testing phase, but Mathews wanted me to run through it because apparently it's gonna be ready for market shortly. But what it is, this is gonna be a piece that you're gonna insert into the grip. If I lift up this grip right here, you will see underneath where there is a device that has been installed in there. And then you're gonna have the cutout in the grip with your control knobs there. But before we get into that, let's talk about that shot sense. What is it? Basically, it's a device in the grip that's going to help you. It's going to tell you how you're holding the bow so that you can try and improve your shot process. So there are a couple things that it will tell you. It's super simple. So there's going to be an app that works with it right here, Mathews. If I click on that, that is going to open the app. And then it will walk you through the calibration process. I'm not going to go through it all here. It's super simple once you open up. And then basically all you're going to do is start shooting your bow, and then it's going to record data. So if I look here on my shot, it's going to have minute of angle. The next number is going to be your level degrees. So what you want there obviously is a 0. You can see I'm at like 0.75, 0.55. So I'm obviously a little bit off level. Then the next number, that's where it's a real problem for me. It's gonna be like a number like 5L or 5R. That's your torque. And I really torque the heck out of this thing for some reason. Then the next number is gonna be your hold time before you shoot. And then lastly, it's going to give you a score out of 100. You can see I'm all over the place. There are 59s. My best score is a 78. So then once you get your score, again, that's out of 100. Let's go to, okay, you're going to have this screen as well. This is going to show you your hold pattern and then your shot. And there's actually a scrub button down here where I can start from the beginning, and you can see this is how my shot sequence went. Right to the shot, right on the X, and then post shot. Where does my bow go afterwards? That's that white line leaving. And this line right here, watch this little white dot vibrating. That's my level. And you can see I'm consistently bubble left. I get it into the middle, but a lot of the time I'm bubble left, so that's something for me to work on. And so you can just track that over time, you know, and try and get your score up. It will show, you can see right here where you're having problems. You know, like I said, I can see I'm having problems with my level, I'm having problems with torque. So I need to do things to work on that to try and get my numbers down there, which presumably will make my score go up. And now, just to give you some references here, Christopher Perkins, Mathews Pro, he has played with this. And I was told that his scores, like, let's go back here. So my average minute of angle is about 11. So that means at 100 yards, I am holding within an 11-inch circle at 100 yards. Christopher Perkins was a 1.5. At 100 yards, he holds within a 1.5-inch circle. I'm 11 inches, he's 1.5. His overall score, remember mine, I had like anywhere from 55 to 76. His scores were about 92, 93. So that's what a pro can do. And the Mathews engineer said, you know, they wanted to make this super sensitive, so even someone like Chris Perkins, he still has room to improve. So again, just the shot sense there. There will be social media functions, you know, that you can have fun with your friends, things like that. But the basics of it is to help you improve your shot. It's gonna show you what you're doing, and then you'll be able to work from there to improve on that. All right, so now that we gave you all the features and the specs for the brand new Mathews lift bows, it's time to do what I love to do, and that is to shoot these bows. So what we're gonna do, I've got both of them. I've already paper tuned them, got them sighted in at 20 yards. You know, paper tuning was a snap for both. Neither of these did I have to change anything in the top hats. These bows both have the top hat system of spacers from Mathews. That's these little black circles right in here. on either side of the cam. If you want to shift the cam left or right, you just change those top hats. I didn't have to do that. I was able to get perfect bullet holes from both of these bows. And you know, as you can see, I got sights, peep sights, I got the stabilizers on here. So what I like to do is I like to come out here and see what they do on the range at distance. And while we're doing that, while I'm getting sighted in, I'm gonna shoot them out to 60 yards. I'll tell you what I think of them. All right, shooting experience here where I have it almost dialed in at 60 yards. I'm gonna finish that sighting in, then I'm gonna shoot a group. But what I wanted to do this time, so the 33 back here, I'm not shooting that one, I'm shooting the 29.5. I feel like I would always go for the 33. Those things hold ridiculously well. We saw pros last year, Levi Morgan, Jeff Hopkins, Andy Calloway, several of the 3D pros were shooting the Phase 4 33 in competition. That's how ridiculously good those bows hold. So I figured I'll try the short one. You know, this is probably your saddle hunters. This is gonna be the one those guys are gonna choose more. It's smaller, it's more maneuverable. So let's see what this one does at 60 yards. That's what I wanna find out. I really don't shoot them that much. What I will tell you is one of the reasons that these Mathews bows of the last couple years hold so well is look how big that riser is compared to the axle to axle. It's just barely, so the axle to axle, this is 29.5. The riser is probably somewhere within an inch of that, 28.5, 29 inches, somewhere in there is the riser. That's why it holds so well, because it's got that big, long, massive riser. So let's see what I can do at 60 here. I believe that's right in the dot. Cameraman's gonna give me a spot there. I didn't learn my lesson from the other day and bring binoculars, but I'm pretty sure that's an X.
Your left, either just inside the X or just outside it.
In the white though. Okay. There. I think that's right there with it. This new SWX Cam. What I will say is there is a difference between the 29.5 and the 33. This one has a bit more of a hump to get over that I don't feel on the 33. So I would say this draw cycle, it rolls over easily, but it's definitely a little bit stiffer, I'll call it, than the 33. But you come back to full draw and I have the 85% mods on here. Pretty sure I do. Yes, 85% let off here. Comes back, you got your draw stops. They're nice and solid on the back wall there. And you know, that 85% let off, I feel I can hold that. It doesn't, it's, you know, 85% let off. That holds like nothing. But like I said, this thing just aims incredibly well. I think that's in there too. All right, one more here. Of course, the last one had to kick out just a little bit to the right, but I think I got 3 in the X. I don't think I can do any better than that. I mean, this is just setting up, 8-inch stabilizer, holds crazy good. The line, I was watching the arrows, great arrow flight. Let's go up there and check this group. I think it's pretty good, except for my last shot. All right. That is what I like to see. 3 X's, and then this guy over here. One always gets away from me. It was the last one, so I was probably a little weak. But 3 X's, 60 yards with the Mathews Lift 29.5. And again, as I mentioned, I generally don't prefer these shorter bows just for this long distance stuff. I just generally don't shoot them as well. But for a 29.5-inch bow, for me, the first day that I'm shooting this at distance, to shoot 3 out of 4 X's at 60 yards while I'm sighting in, that just tells me everything I need to know. These things can shoot. All right, that is the Mathews Lift series of bows for 2024, the 29.5, the 33. These are their flagship hunting bows from Mathews for 2024. So we got our first look at these bows. We got to play with them a little bit. You got to see them on screen here. Tell us what you think about them. Leave a comment below. And if you want to see these bows on our website and all the color options, weight options, etc., you can click the link below. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click that bell to get notifications whenever we put out new videos. As always, if you have any questions, you can visit us at lancasterarchery.com.